Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the Clemson Tigers video and why I believe they're going to win the ACC this season. I know I'm starting off with most of the guys. I think I'm going to either be number 1 or number 2 in the conference. And I think it's really a two-horse race between them and Florida State. You know, maybe we see NC State or UNC get frisky, but I really doubt it. Now, what makes them so good? They're returning their running back and their quarterback. Cade Klubnik, Will Shipley. These two are two of the best players at their position, respectively, and are pretty high up in the Heisman race. I believe Will Shipley is like the 3rd or 4th running back that's up there, and Cade Klubnik is tied with J.J. McCarthy. So, you know, one of like the 18 to 1 to 22 to 1, I believe, is the odds. But he's definitely a guy that could potentially, you know, win the Heisman. Super elite defense. A lot of continuity kind of is the main piece of this, but looking at their defense, I'm looking at the prospect lists of guys that could get drafted. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Barrett Carter, 2 linebackers. Then they got Andrew Mukuba, M-U-K-U-B-A, Mbuka. Ruke Orhorhoro, A-R-H-O-R-O-H-O-R-O, Orhorhoro. Tyler Davis, and then Will Shipley is a prospect as well. But there's 2 D linemen there, 2 linebackers, and a safety. All going to start. You know, they brought a ton back, a ton of production. They lost a bit. Miles Murphy, Brian Brise, and then Trenton Simpson all got drafted. I don't even know if anyone else other than that. They lost a few receivers as well. But looking at the transfer portal, kind of, you know, looking at some other things they've done there. They lost a ton on the portal though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys they lost in the portal all over the place. Mostly some 3 stars other than DJ Uyunglele. Their quarterback went out to Corvallis and the Oregon State guys. And a few of these guys all stayed in conference, which is kind of crazy. But the only guy that they transferred in was, where is he? Paul Tyson, a 3-star grad transfer who's going to be their third string quarterback from Arizona State. So really added nothing in the portal. As for recruiting, they were 11th in the country. They had 26 commits, 1 5-star, 18 4-stars, and 7 7 3-stars. So 18 4-stars is second in the country, behind Notre Dame, Oregon, and Alabama, all with 18. So they are 19. So they tied them there. But they are 11th in the country. I believe they're top of their conference, though. No, Miami had a better class. So right behind them, though, was Clemson. So as for those guys, let me just see who they have here. They added in Peter Woods, 5-star defensive lineman. Tamorian Parker, 4-star defensive lineman. Another defensive lineman in Vic Burley. A quarterback, Christopher Vesna, they didn't really need, and another defensive lineman, Stephen Green, and then some offensive linemen after that. But they added, 4 defensive linemen. They want to stop you. They want to stop, the run, and establish the trenches, which is what we're kind of seeing with Brett Venables, funnily enough, over in Oklahoma. He's doing the same thing. He's in on all these D-line guys. So you can definitely see that Venables' philosophy is still there. So that's, something good to see. But looking at the R-Lads thing, you can look at their top guy on the depth chart. It's all the same people. And you look at their depth there, it's all the same people except some of their freshmen coming in. So they've got some freshman 3rd stringers on the offense, and then they've got a lot of freshmen 2nd and 3rd stringers on defense. But their top guys, and mostly top 2, are all either, a 5-star freshman or 4-star freshman. But mostly returning guys. So that's a lot of continuity on that defense there. And by Clemson standards, they had a bad season, but, they kind of got run up against by that hot team in South Carolina at the end of the year, beating Tennessee and then Clemson. And then the other game they lost, who did they lose? I think they lost to Notre Dame, I believe. So not great there. But then they, took care of business in their championship game against UNC. So they still ran the conference, despite being bad. But Will Shipley and Cade are good enough to win a game on their own. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is one of those linebackers where where he's at all times. I forgot the kid's name, but old Clemson, when the guy was the white guy with the sleeve, he had a Polish last name and he had the big neck collar. That is the type of linebacker this Jeremiah guy is, where it's not like play style, but just in a sense of commanding defensive captain. You know where he is at all times. He's flying around downhill, uphill. He was a guy you looked at when looking at the tape of these other Clemson guys from last season. but granted, most of them were injured. When you watched their limited tape from last season, you saw who the hell is this kid running around? That is the guy you were looking at. Other than that, the biggest addition was not on the team itself. It was in the staff. Dabo Swinney hired Garrett Riley, brother of Lincoln Riley, I believe brother, but they look identical. It's got to be brother. And he was from the TCU Horned Frogs and their crazy season last year. That offensive scheme, everyone was always open, always scoring a billion points. Garrett Riley did that with a little bit of talent there. I'm not saying TCU had a lack of talent, but there's levels between TCU and Clemson. So he went up, offensive coordinator there, and we'll see if Dabo lets him call plays. He had a little bit of Harbaugh on him, where it was like my way or the highway. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest additions of the year. Is going to be Garrett Riley. Probably could be winning the Broyles Award for the best coordinator. I think it definitely could happen. I think he might have won it last year. He should have, if not. But he could double down and go back-to-back at 2 different schools, which would be incredible, and then he probably would get himself a head coaching job somewhere. Other than that, the biggest thing from last season was a lack of pass catchers. So no additions in that side there, but they have guys all coming back, sophomore, junior. So young group here. And what's crazy about that is most of their core here, they will lose some guys on the defensive line for sure. A lot of them are graduate students, but they have recruited it well enough to the point where they lose almost nobody. I'm looking at their offense. They're going to lose one player, their center, who they've got a good replacement in behind him already. But they all come back, and then the whole defense can come back if they want to. Obviously, Jeremiah probably won't because he's so good, but the rest of those guys are all graduate students. So, Clemson's going to be here for the next 2 seasons, and I think that they could really make a lot of noise. And my prediction is they'll be playing Michigan in the Rose Bowl as the 2 or 3 seed, likely the 3 seed, Michigan being the 2 seed. And I think they do go undefeated, as crazy as that sounds. But let me know down below what you think. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I have on here. Yeah, statement year for Dabo. You make those noises. You say that you don't need name, image, and likeness. It's God's name, image, and likeness. You say you don't need the transfer portal, and you're kind of proving that. It's just, I don't know. I think it's going to be very impressive if they pull it off without going fully in. But, kind of like them in Michigan, a really bit like not big NIL teams, not super big portal teams. It's interesting to see if those 2 head coaches will figure it out and, get back to the playoff, which I believe both will this year. And hopefully one of them is going to have to win a playoff game if they play each other. So good for them there. But we'll see what happens to the Tigers with Clemson. But thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow for a Pac-12 video. Peace.